It's not about opinion, it's about the fact. And we will have the President of the United States here with us in The Hague in a NATO summit, and that's a proof that NATO is the strong alliance, that is functional, that we are ambitious, and that we deliver. And with the joint statement tomorrow, we will see that we are capable of agreeing on ambitious benchmark on 5% of GDP being spent on defense. And that's a big thing. And it's also because of the leadership of President Trump and of leadership of our Secretary General, Mark Rutte.
And yet there are some countries who are looking for exemptions. They want all kinds of qualifications to that 5%. Nations, including Spain, that have got nowhere near 2%. What's your message for Pedro Sanchez and the Spanish and their desire for an exemption?
Alliance is for everyone and of everyone, and it means that we all commit the same. And whether you are on the front line, as Lithuania and the other Baltic countries are, with Poland and the others, or whether you are more to the west or to the south part of Europe, it's all about our capabilities. Because the reason for us to increase defense spending was not the different level of the threat. The threat level and threat assessment is for the all alliance in the same, and we are doing it because of the direct systemic threat, long-term threat from Russia. And it means that without the NATO capabilities in total, at the level that we agreed, we cannot deter ourselves. And it means that NATO as the alliance cannot be in a peace for the decades to come. We want to be in peace, we need the strong deterrence, and the strong deterrence depends on our capabilities, and to develop those capabilities we need to spend more. This is simple, and we cannot have the exemptions here, because we know that all of us, meaning each country, are behind those capability targets, and that's why my proposal was just to declassify those capability targets. And just let's avoid and prevent this speculation.
But I've read that, sir, and I understand the logic. Let's all know what our problems are so we can sell this to the populations. But you're also letting the Russians know where our weaknesses are as well if you do that, sir.
Who doesn't know where our weaknesses are? That we lack of air defenses, that we cannot supply enough to Ukraine because we don't have it ourselves. Our stockpiles are half empty, and we have to fulfill those, and we have to develop more. And this is not something that you can hide, the Patriot batteries, for example, in the Baltic countries, and we have to show. And we have to declare and to show to Russians, and this is how deterrents work. They don't believe our papers or something that we promised to do in 10 years, as they are producing right now.
Minister, you talk about the long-term threat of Russia. Mr. Zelensky, and indeed your own president, who I've had the privilege to speak to on several occasions, believe it's a medium to short-term threat from the Russians as well. How concerned are you, as Mr. Zelensky is, that actually a NATO member and possibly Lithuania will be one of those nations that he could attack next?
That's why we are pushing for the stronger decisions. That's why posture on the front line is so important. That's why U.S. forces create such a big deterrence effect also in the Baltic countries. And this is the right thing to do and to continue to do. And this is why alliance proved itself as being the most effective, because it was never attacked by other country in its history. So this is how we should proceed. And there are many elements in it. One of those, of course, is the commitment on Article 5. One goes for all for one, and the other element is really important, that the extended nuclear deterrence that comes from United States to European countries. And we know that dealing with the nuclear country as Russia is, with aggressor that uses nuclear coercion as one of the tools to use the conventional forces in Ukraine, that's only the nuclear deterrence that can be effective in this way. And all these elements Ukraine lacked, be it 2014, be it 2022, and that's why the very conditions of the NATO is different.
Final question, sir, because I know you're incredibly busy. As Ukraine, we haven't talked enough about it as well. And how do you see the commitment of NATO, but more importantly the United States, to Ukraine? Because, of course, the Russia-Ukraine war has been going on, as you say, since 2014, let alone 2022 as well. Do you see US commitment to Ukraine? Or what do you see on that at the moment?
I see that transatlantic relations and bond and coordination was so much effective, and it's not only security and defense supplies to Ukraine. Of course, those were absolutely critical and important for Ukraine to defend in the very beginning and now on. But there are other issues, coordinating on sanctions. and then coordinating within G7 on oil price cap, and coordinating also on some European decisions on enlargement, for example. So we have to continue this, coordinate what we are doing within G7 and between EU and US, because this is the way to go forward, because there are so many civil issues, not only defense issues related to Ukraine. This is macroeconomic stability. This is the financial needs that they have to cover because of the status of economy in Ukraine, and we have to continue in it.